Do you remember a historical event that you experienced firsthand?
Yes, well, there was a very big strike that left everyone shaken.
Was it like a general strike?
Yes, but it was a railway workers' strike. I remember hearing on the television that the police were dragging the railway workers through the streets and beating them with batons, of course. They also said it on the radio, this is happening in the cities. Mainly in the big cities, because in the small villages, where there were no railway workers, everything happened over there. Then the government of the time issued an order. If they don't return to work by such and such a date.
Were they threatened by being demilitarized?
Exactly. Railway workers were under a sort of military structure. After beating them half to death, the poor men had to go back to work.
What would have happened if they didn't go back to work?
Well, someone earning a decent wage, maybe he was a corporal or something, would be demoted to a common soldier. So they had no choice but to return. That really shocked people, really, deeply.
Was that before the transition?
Oh yes, long before. I was just a child. I remember hearing it on the radio. I must have been about 10 or 12.
Was there something that marked you personally, something that shocked you and you were scared?
Yes. There was this father, a normal man, with his son and wife and everything. But from time to time, he'd get drunk and pick fights with whoever he pleased. He also used to steal. He had us all terrified because the civil guard were after him, and he'd hide out in the wheat fields. Sometimes he'd be hiding there for a week or two. And when they caught him, you can imagine.
Thank you. Who was the Sacamantecas?
The Sacamantecas was an invention mothers used to scare the children. Like the boogeyman, the same thing, just another invention. Although, to be fair, my mum never scared us with that sort of stuff.
And the so-called Melete?
Yes, Malit was just a filthy guy, someone with a bad reputation. A vagabond. And that's it.
Okay. Allow me a few seconds of your time to introduce my book series to you. It is called The Dark Star, a love comedy based on true events, with a twist of fiction, of course. It is honest, funny at times, and completely from the heart. You can find it now on Amazon at the link below. I hope it makes you laugh, maybe think a little, or just enjoy it. Thank you so much and see you soon. There is something extraordinary regarding towns in rural Spain, and that's the nicknames. Everybody had a nickname. Why there was that such thing as why the nicknames are such a big thing in the rural Spain? It's still on in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, still on nicknames there. Why? Why is such a big thing?
Well, let's see, because if there were, say, 20 Johns, a bit of an exaggeration, but let's say 10 Johns, 10 Pepes, 10 whatevers. Well, no one knew who was being talked about.
Well, that was the surnames for, right?
Still, it's easier when someone from outside comes. For example, I remember from another village, kids came to town and asked, "Hey kid, what's your mum making? What are you eating?" The poor lad, who was the sweetest soul, would say, "Chips." The next day, again, "What are you eating today?" "Well, chips." And after 3 days, they
Oh
started
dear.
calling him Chips, and everyone knew him by that. And that was that.
Do you remember any nickname that it makes you laugh?
I don't know, that's the one I remember. There was another kid they called Matches, and it was because he must have said something about matches to light fire, and just like that. He was known as that forever.
Is it true that in every village there used to be one womanizer, one drunk, one crazy guy, one of each?
How do you say it? Yeah, one of each. A queer, which was so taboo back then and so secretive, that people practically had to hide and let no one to find out. And then, the rest were just regular folk. Well, maybe 2 or 3 drunks, a madman. Yeah. And then more started appearing. And what did we say about the other thing? The womanizers, right? Oh, womanizers. Yeah. Look. Once my husband and I were out for a walk. And it was just past twilight. A woman walks by. And a guy on a bike passes too. What happened was... Wait. A guy on a bike comes by and spits right at the woman and says, "Get lost, you whore." And he didn't care there were people around, you know? Yeah. And there were really awful people too. I'll tell you something. When my grandma used to go to next door town. So, poor grandma was already very old, and she used to collect eggs from her clients and go sell them over there. I used to go with her, and I said, "Grandma, why is that woman so pale?" Because there were two sisters, one normal, the other really pale. "Grandma, why is that woman so pale?" She said, "My dear, because her own daughter-in-law said that her mother, the woman's mother-in-law, had slept with some guy." Like me saying, "My mother-in-law slept with." And then the daughter felt such shame and such sorrow that she never went outside again. She was so embarrassed and so hurt that she never stepped outside again.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Thank you so much. What do your children used to play?